the game. What were you looking for there? What was the thinking behind that choice?
Yeah, playing the guys I thought were going to win the game.
How was Russ after the game? Is that the sort of thing that bothers him?
Have you followed Russ throughout his career?
Not as closely as you have, probably.
Okay. Have you followed Russ throughout this season? Yeah. Would you think that would bother Russ not being in the late game?
Sometimes you gotta flip it on folks, right, Monica?
Ooh, that's a rhetorical.
It is so good to see you. Last time we were on the floor with Santa Perk for story time.
And y'all so tight. Molly rocked the white boots the other day. You rocking it
No,
now.
these are off-white and hers are fire, and they have a clear deal.
Yes.
No,
Don't do that,
the whole
Stephen A.
fit. When you live out here in New York, you know a thing or two about fashion.
Step out.
I want to start with you on this one, Stephen A.
Oh, yeah.
And real talk here. Mm-hmm. Could this be the end of Russ as we know him, Russ the superstar?
It could be. He just hasn't been that impressive. Weeks ago, I heard him loud and clear when he alluded to the coaches. And he said, they got me all over the place. They tell me one thing and then they tell me another. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact quote. But that's along the lines of what he was saying. So that gave an indication that they weren't on the same page. What really alarmed me last night, I said, hey, he hit 4 of his 6 3-point shots. That's an aberration because he's shooting 30% from three-point range. Okay, even though he shot 5 of 17 from the field overall. He's averaging over 4 turnovers a game. That's not great. But here's the thing that really stood out for me, Monica. I'm watching it. And benched for, pretty much the remainder of the game. And then you read the story on ESPN.com, and it says the scouting report specifically said, keep him off his right hand. He wants to use his right hand and drive to the basket. Whatever you do, don't let him do that. Make him go to his left hand. And he obviously didn't do that. LeVert drives right by him and scores a basket, and that was a problem. So we get all of that. My bigger issue is this. If you read between the lines, so the coaching staff went to management. Management gave them the okay to do what you got to do. If you feel the need to bench Russ, you feel the need to bench Russ. That means it was something they were contemplating for weeks. It means it's something that's been incredibly alarming to them. And what it says to me is they don't think they can reach him any other way. Now, if you're Russell Westbrook, because the dude is strong-willed, firm belief in himself, does things his way, et cetera, et cetera. I'll tell you what I said to Jay Williams at the start of the show, Monica.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook, at the end of the day, has to start thinking legacy. Going to the Hall of Fame. We ain't doubting that. Kevin Durant was your teammate. James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Reggie Jackson, Victor Oladipo, Paul George, James Harden again, Bradley Beal, and now LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And I forgot Carmelo Anthony because he was in Oklahoma City with you. If you end your career with 0 championships, with all of those dudes as your teammates, that's a damn problem. And no one is going to deny that. You can't, with Russell Westbrook, you can't just look at this Lakers team. No one's going to do that when it comes to him.
Right.
We might look at the Lakers, but when it comes to him, you're going to take into account all the opportunities that he had based on all the support he had and how it didn't pan out to you winning the chip. And that is ultimately what people are going to associate him with if stuff don't change.
The only way that we qualify success in this league is by championships. And so I agree with you there. The one pushback that I have for some of the heat that Russell Westbrook has earned to this point in this season is he is exactly who we thought he was. And to your point, does that mean he now needs to shift at this point in his career, or do the Lakers need to do a better job of acknowledging who he is? Everybody's up and down about his turnovers. He averages 4.2 on his career. At 4.1, excuse me. He's averaging 4.2 with the Lakers. And so this is not new behavior, right? The defensive plays last night, those were glaring. I agree with you, because if anything, you can bank on Russ bringing the energy and the intensity, and he did not show up in that moment.
Never cheats with effort.
Right.
Never. Yeah.
Right. But I also, and this may not be fair, Stephen A., and I mean this from the most respectful place, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. And to me, as much as we have talked about LeBron James and the numbers that he's putting up at this point in his career and his entire body of work, we have also heard a lot about him as a leader, right? And so if there was anybody in the league, and I understand Russ may be set in his ways, he may be stubborn, he is a ball of fire, hard to contain, but if there was anybody in the league, in my mind, that was poised to get through to him, whether it's LeBron, Vogel, Russ, behind closed doors, private conversations, if ever there was a superstar that I thought could do it, it would be LeBron James. And so, to me, I'm with you in that conversation or that press conference a couple weeks back when he said, I'm not quite sure of my role, and kind of laughed. That was alarming. Because you can't bring a guy with his energy and just say, go.
Well, let me say this to you. Here's where I would alter. I don't want to say disagree, but I would give you a different perspective in this regard. LeBron James has to be held accountable for Russell Westbrook being in L.A.
That part?
Because you had an opportunity to get DeMar DeRozan. He wanted to come to L.A. Buddy Hield wanted to come to L.A. Russell Westbrook went to LeBron like, yo, man, I want to be here. So LeBron got AD to buy in, supposedly. They go to Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka. This is what we want to do. And if you Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, how you going to say no to LeBron James and Anthony Davis?
You don't.
You don't say no to them. You say yes to them.
Absolutely.
And so as a result of that, there's accountability there, not to mention, LeBron is not a good basketball player. He's an all-time great. I think top 2, top 3. He's on a Mount Rushmore. Not to mention the fact he's a champion wherever he's going, Cleveland, Miami, L.A. Not to mention the fact that he's been to 10 NBA Finals. And, oh, by the way, we don't call him a good basketball mind. We say brilliant. LeBron James is a basketball savant. He knows more than me and you and practically
100%.
a lot of people combined. He's that brilliant. So knowing the game the way that you do and embracing Russell Westbrook, one would ask why, or what are you going to do about whatever flaws he might have. But we also can't escape the fact that Russell Westbrook has some culpability because Russell Westbrook is considered strong-willed in Oklahoma City, in Houston, in Washington, and now in L.A. And so when you look at it from that perspective, and remember, he's on the record last year, and I think this is the worst quote he ever gave, but I have an obligation to reiterate it. He said publicly, championships don't mean nothing to me. I see plenty of champions who are less happier than me.
I mean, why go to L.A.? Obviously,
now, in fairness to him, I don't believe that. I think he was frustrated in the moment and just said that. And I also know that brother goes out there and strives to win every single night.
Yeah.
But the point is, you said it. And as a result of that, combined with the willpower, the stubbornness, people going to look at all of those things.
All right, we'll leave it there. Lakers have lost 4 of 5, and Russ has scored less than 20.
I produce the extraordinary.
Music.
Don't interrupt the co-open. I got my man Sam Tanucci, a producer extraordinary, trying to tell me how to do a co-opening. I'm going to put him on TV, by the way. Sam is my brother. He's a great producer. I just don't know about the wardrobe, though. Speaking of wardrobe,
you don't even see
what the hell is going on with Dan Orlovsky today? Where's the suit? Where's the tie? Got the Elvis hairdo rocking. I don't know what the hell is going on, and I never believed in my wildest dreams that Jay Williams would want some of this 2 days in a row. Evidently, the brother getting brave. He getting bold. I guess doing radio with Keyshawn and Max in the morning. Got the brother sticking out his chest, acting like he the man. First Take is in the house. They obviously didn't know. They should have asked somebody. Let's roll.
They never contain. We going stronger, we going longer. This is the red.
be cold outside, but getting hot on set. Stephen A. Smith this year, Jay Will in the building. We're going to start with basketball, and Dan Orlovsky will be back in a minute. A lot of playoffs to discuss
Cold,
as well.
It's cold.
It's cold.
It's a little cold. It's snowing outside.
It's cold. It's snowing outside. All right. Okay.
It's hot in here, though.
That's why having a sweater dress, tights, and boots for the weather. Excuse me, look at that.
It was a big sweater. That's why I was asking.
How is this a big sweater?
Big sweater?
What are you talking about? First of all, it's a sweater dress.
Molly
And
doing
it's periwinkle, the color of the...
Go ahead, Molly. Tell him. Tell this man.
I can't take him anywhere. Who let him out the house?
I got you. I'm here for you.
Thank you.
I'm here for you.
I'm only going to talk to you.
You going to talk
go.
to Jay Williams about wardrobe?
Oh my! Can you
Well,
stop?
I mean,
I can't
you're
even
going to owe
believe
me a
Jay
wardrobe.
came back
So I can
after
hook
what
her up with the
happened
money that you're going to owe me. So it works
Listen,
out.
with the
It's not
two
over
of
yet.
you
It's not over yet.
yesterday, I
Really?
almost lost my
It's not?
voice
No,
again.
yeah,
It's not?
It's not over yet.
Okay.
Nick still got a chance.
Oh,
Okay,
Nick still got a chance.
can we start the show? No one cares about your sorry
I'm
Knicks.
gonna pray for
We begin with the Lake Show. Yes, you heard me. Yes, don't look at me. Which hasn't been living up to the purple and gold standards. Just ask Magic. During last night's loss to the Indiana Pacers, Coach Frank Vogel benched Russell Westbrook for the last 3:52 of the game. Westbrook was under 30% beyond the arc. Here's Vogel.
Frank, you opted to go with Russ on the bench at the end of the game. What were you looking for there? What was the thinking behind that choice?
Yeah, playing the guys I thought were going to win the game.
How was Russ after the game? Is that the sort of thing that bothers him?
Have you followed Russ throughout his career?
Not as closely as you have, probably.
Okay. Have you followed Russ throughout this season? Yeah. Would you think that would bother Russ not being in the late game?
What had happened was, meanwhile, our Dave McMenamin is reporting that Lakers management told the coaching staff to coach Westbrook as they see fit, even if that means pulling him from the game. Jay, I'll start with you. Is Westbrook most to blame for the Lakers' struggles?
No. Now, look, there are two people that would be scapegoats here.
Okay.
I think Russ is one of them. Does his game fit in with LeBron James and with the cast of characters that they have assembled? No, it does not. That play last night where he got benched, he didn't give effort on the defensive end. Okay, but I'm not going to allow Russell Westbrook to be a scapegoat. He didn't bring himself to L.A. L.A. went and they got him. Frank Vogel, he's another scapegoat. This was a defensive-minded team 15 months ago when they won their first NBA championship. They changed personnel. He's now trying to make this new cast of characters, which is an older group, by the way, DeAndre Jordan, Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington, Kendrick Nunn, who's been injured, Trevor Ariza injured, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, they let go of him.
Oldest team in the NBA.
Oldest team in the NBA. He's trying to make them a defensive-minded team when that's not how they're actually built. I get so frustrated when we end up doubling down on Russell Westbrook or Frank Vogel. This is an organizational issue. There is not one damn voice, Stephen A. Who is making the right decisions here? Rob Pelinka and company. Is that Rob Pelinka? Is that Rich Paul, LeBron James, Jenny Buss, Kurt Rambis, who's now sitting in coaches' meetings? What is going on? Why is there not one voice? Because Rob Pelinka and company are the ones that put together this cast of characters that you're asking now, can it work? You need shooting around these guys. When you can't provide that around the style in which they play, of course they're going to struggle. And they're horrible defensively.
This is a strange segment to start off the show. Because I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. But I have a different perspective. And I want to throw this by you and listen to me break this down. I don't think it's Russell Westbrook's fault. Russell Westbrook is who he is. Frank Vogel is the head coach. I do have a problem with you being like 18th in defensive efficiency and 27th overall in points allowed per game because you're a head coach because of your defensive prowess. In other words, even though we look at the personnel and we know you don't have it, the objective of a coach is to figure it out because that's why you have the job.
Understood.
You know that's why you have the job. We understand that, okay? So I can't completely absolve Frank Vogel while I'm not blaming him because I understand that the roster is old and I get that they're not built to be a defensive-minded team. You have to figure out a way for them to be better than 27th in points allowed and 18th in defense. You got to figure that out, Frank Vogel. Okay, now, here's where I tell you that although I'm not pointing a finger at Russ, if you Russell Westbrook, it's not a character issue. His effort is always there. He never cheats the game. Let's understand that. But Having said all of that, if you're Russell Westbrook, I'm going to repeat something I said months ago. These are your teammates. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Reggie Jackson, Victor Oladipo, Paul George, James Harden again, Bradley Beal, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And you don't have one single title to show for it. It's a legacy question because obviously this is the first season with LeBron and AD, and it's not over yet. And we get that even though we don't see them winning the championship. What I'm saying is if you're Russell Westbrook, at some moment in time, you got to look at things through those lenses. Because, bless you, because when we talk about the game of basketball, which obviously you are more than qualified to talk as far as I'm concerned, national champion, player of the year in college at Duke. You understand you don't get injured in the damn accident. You kicking behind in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. You're qualified. What I'm saying is when we talk about basketball, in the end, how you not going to look at all of that? I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about in general.
I understand.
Think about it because this ain't football now, where you Tom Brady, you play offense, but you don't play defense, you don't play special teams. If you got 2 or 3 big-time players in basketball, you are formidable. You are in the picture. And somewhere, at some point in time, you're supposed to come over the hump. You're supposed to get over the hump. We are now at a point in time where Russell Westbrook, the only reason we would say he ain't getting traded is because of his salary. That the Lakers would give him away. We're wondering, he ain't even an all-star this year. He ain't going to an all-star game this year. Think about that for a second. This is Russell Westbrook we talking about here. He's not even an all-star this year. And so when we look at it from that perspective, and we're looking at the players he played against, at some point in time, everybody's going to look at that. Because you see, with LeBron, when you sit there and you see him being, and I don't mind Russell Westbrook not talking to the media last night. I totally
LeBron
understand.
did it a couple nights ago with them.
But I totally understand because Russell Westbrook got benched. What you think he gonna say if he was up at that microphone?
Nothing possible.
It would have been bad.
Yes.
So I get all of that. I understand to me, it would have been good for him to go up there, but I totally understand him not going up there. But in the end, we're going to get to a point, if we're not there already, where we're saying all these guys you played with,